Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Stacy Love and I serve as Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Outreach and Student Success here at John Carroll University. Thank you so much for taking your time today to join us for our Social Sciences presentation here at John Carroll University. I am joined by three wonderful faculty members who will be talking through their programs with you. Starting us off will be Dr. Richard Clark, who is an Associate Professor and Chair of Sociology and Criminology. Right after Dr. Clark is Dr. Minnie Peden, who's an Associate Professor and the Chair of our Political Science Department. And wrapping things up is Dr. Phil Metris, who is a Professor of English and the Director of the Peace, Justice, and Human Rights Program. So, Dr. Clark, take it away.
Hi, well, thank you. Welcome. As Stacy said, I am Chair of the Sociology Department. There's a major and a minor. The major is 37 hours. Minor, obviously, you see is 21 hours. We have four concentrations. The first one is criminology. That's our largest concentration. If you're interested in the field of criminology, whether you're interested in law, forensics, etc., which we also have a concentration on, interested in law school, interested in law enforcement, federal level, probation, parole, drugs, crime, alcohol, counseling, etc. That's the concentration for you. It is our largest concentration. We also have two other concentrations: diversity, justice, and social work, community, and health. Community health is obviously huge these days with the coronavirus running around. But those other two concentrations are really for folks interested in social work or community change or diversity or social justice. And you see a lot of these concentrations overlap. And the major overlaps. At the bottom, you'll see I added, it's easy to double major, major, and minor, etc. A lot of our majors are peace, justice, human rights majors. A lot of peace, justice, human rights majors, as my friend Dr. Metris will talk about, are sociology minors. We also have a lot of political science overlap. And as Dr. Peden will point out, sociology and political science actually have allowed our students to take each other's research methods classes and sequences to enable you folks to double major or major and minor. So something I strongly urge you folks to think about and to consider. This is a wonderful opportunity for the next 4 years for you guys to explore what it is that interests you and to find some new things. So love to have you in sociology, but I'll tell you the same thing I say to every high school student that wanders in my office or every other student that wanders in as a sophomore first year who's thinking of majoring in soc. We'd love to have you, but more importantly, we'd love to have you feel where you fit best. So if sociology and criminology is where you are, that's great. We'd be thrilled. If you're better off in poli-sci or peace, justice, human rights, or another one of our wonderful majors, we'd be thrilled to have you go there. So going through looking at some of the things sociology students do, and clearly I wrote this from a sociology point of view, but if you look at peace, justice, human rights, political science, you'll see the same kinds of things. Our students are really active on campus. They lead and participate in numerous student organizations, student governments. We've had multi-Beaudry Award winners. That's an internal John Carroll Award that's given to the senior student. It's voted on by his or her fellow students. We've had multi-Campion Award winners. That's also a John Carroll Award. The Ohio Campus Ping Service Award actually is a State of Ohio award. That's for service out above and beyond the call of duty. Numerous sociology students have won that award. There are summer research fellowships which you are eligible for, and you get to work with a faculty member on a research project. The best part is you actually get paid for that research project. We've had multiple Collar and Weaver summer research fellowships for our students. And we've had students accepted into top graduate and law programs. If that's where your interest is, John Carroll's a great place for that. It's a wonderful teaching institution. As Stacy pointed out, we do have wonderful professors. I thoroughly enjoy my colleagues. We've had a student just accepted into Ohio State Law School, complete full ride. We have a student who's finishing her first year at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana Law School. We've had multiple graduates actually go on and get their PhDs in sociology. So it is a program that attracts top students. The university attracts top students. And as my colleagues will tell you, one of the beauties of John Carroll, quite simply, is that you will have the ability to interact with faculty. The summer research fellowships, getting into top graduate law programs. With all due respect, it'll be you that'll get yourself there, but it'll be us that'll help you get there. We can mentor you, we can guide you, and we can give you some critical thinking skills that'll serve you well in those opportunities. And then last but not least, I just talked about some opportunities you folks will have. Last 3 years, we've had 56 supervised internships for sociology, and they run the gamut from anywhere from law enforcement to involved in the community, working with homeless shelters, working with homeless, working with rape crisis, working with schools, working with juvenile delinquents, et cetera, et cetera. We've also had 16 independent studies with sociology faculty. So probably a little early for you guys to start thinking about that. But as you develop through your Carroll career, you will probably develop some specific interests in some topics. And one way to pursue that is to approach a faculty member and do an independent study. I was doing a research project on women, mostly women, actually mostly foreign women, interestingly, who write to American death row inmates. And I was able to bring in a student who worked with me as an independent study looking at the data. And we presented 2 papers at professional meetings, which I've also talked about down there. I've had other colleagues who have worked with students. We've had students present at professional meetings. We've had students actually win the top award for a presentation at the Ohio Northeast Undergraduate Student Association. So you will get those opportunities to work with faculty on a one-on-one basis. It's a wonderful mentoring opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity for you guys to get to know faculty members. You'll see us in the classroom, but you actually will get more out of us if you talk to us at an individual level. If we had more time, I'd talk more about that. Assist faculty with evaluation projects. I finished an evaluation of Cuyahoga County's community court program. It was an attempt to reduce low-level deviant behavior in the county. I refer to it that way. I was able to bring in 2 students who actually got paid because it was a grant to help with that. And they got to go down to the meetings and meet with prosecutors and defense attorneys and people involved in the public. Also have a colleague, Dr. Gloria Ficara, who is working with Cuyahoga County Drug Court and as an evaluator. And she has been able to bring in several undergraduate students to assist with that. And so these students actually get paid to go down to Cuyahoga County Drug Court and then meet and do an evaluation of how well it works with the client, so to speak. As I said, we have opportunities for you folks to present papers at professional meetings. The summer research projects, there are opportunities for that. I've had 2 of those. I believe we have another one coming down the pike. I had a colleague, Dr. Medora Barnes, who was doing a study on masculinity and how college men look at masculinity. And she was able to get a student who worked with her over the summer, and the student was paid to look at the data. That student is now at Ohio State Law School on a full ride. So this is not just an opportunity for you guys to work with us as professors, but when it's all done and you put this on your resume, it looks really well. Looks really good, I should say, sorry. And then last but not least, we have multiple service learning courses. And these are opportunities for you guys to get out into the community and then to bring it back into the classroom. And so you take what you learn in the classroom and you tie it into what you're seeing in the community, and you bring it back and you discuss it. And it gives you an opportunity to deepen your learning, which is really a nice thing, because there is, what's in the classroom and what's in the real world. And not that they're different, but hopefully they connect with each other. And service learning courses are wonderful opportunities for you guys to sit down and get out in the community, bring it back to the classroom, process it with your colleagues, and then bring it back and turn it into what you're learning in the class, with the idea that hopefully then you can go out and actually make some positive change. It sort of ties into the John Carroll Men and Women for Others opportunities. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues. Love to have you folks come to John Carroll. Love to have you guys in sociology. There's plenty of other good programs, as my 2 friends will talk about. If you have any questions about sociology, you can clearly reach out to me. As Stacy said, Richard Clark, chair of the department. You can go online, you can find my email address. shoot me an email. I'd be happy to respond. I realize these days it's hard to say come visit. But if need be, we can also do a Zoom meeting between me and you and your folks, if you'd all like to join in. So anyway, wish you all the very best. Love to see you at Carroll, and I'm going to turn it over to my two colleagues. And thank you kindly.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? I am Mindy Peden. I'm going to talk a little bit about studying political science here at John Carroll, reiterate some of the things that Dr. Clark said. The first thing that I like to point out to potential students is that at John Carroll, we really emphasize what are 4 or 5 core elements of political science. And so our major is organized around having you be exposed to all of those core elements. So the first is the United States politics, which is traditionally why a lot of students coming from the United States are interested in politics. They want to know more about American government. And so this course exposes you to the institutions and ideologies that are specific to the United States. The second one, comparative politics, is meant to compare 2 different states to each other, or more than 2. And so, for example, one of the classic things that we look at is in the United States, we have a presidential system, but in the United Kingdom, they have a parliamentary system. That's very different. Those kinds of differences are the things that you explore in comparative politics. In international relations, you look at the world as a whole and the relationship between all states. So you look at the United Nations, but also there's a lot about war and security, and just in general having a sense of what international institutions are. The fourth major component of political science is political thought, which is what I teach along with some other colleagues. And that is really looking at the theories that have given rise to mass movements all over the world, and also sort of examining different concepts like equality, power, freedom, oppression. What are they? And what have people said about them, over the history of time? Lastly, we ask you to take the methodology classes, and the first one is an introduction to methods, and the second one is a research methods class with a lab. We found that, as Dr. Clark said, that many students will double major and maybe take sociology methods or a different department's methods, or our methods will count towards a different major. But we have found that in general, as far as political science departments go, our students come out in a very rigorous position and are quite ready for the next step. You'll also be required to do a capstone class and a number of electives. So that's a little bit about what the core of our major is. We also have 3 different concentrations. Legal studies, often for people who want to go to law school or who are just interested in the law in general. There's also global studies if you want to focus in on different countries and the international system. And then our new one is called applied politics, and that's for people who want to work in politics, for example, in campaigns or working for a legislator, that sort of thing. So those are 3 options for concentrations in the political science department, which you don't have to choose. You can just do a general major as well. We also kind of have organized our major around allowing students who don't know whether they're interested in political science to get interested in political science. So we have a lot of courses that you can take to explore the major and also get core credit at the university. One of the nice things about John Carroll is that we have a very strong core curriculum, which asks you to do, classes in different departments and across departments as well. And so these might not be familiar to you right now, but we've created some really interesting and popular courses that are designed for anybody at the university who's interested to take them. And we found that sometimes students get interested from taking these courses and then decide to major or minor in political science. So some of the ones that are a little bit different than what you might get at other schools are this, we have a linked class and a standalone class also on wrongful convictions taught by a very talented part-time instructor, Sarah Scavone. We also have a Engaging the Global Community course on Berlin, From Reich to Republic, and in that class, students go with Dr. Andreas Sobich and Dr. Matt Burke from the history department. They actually go to Berlin on a walking tour. Also a class I teach is called Global Debt and Justice. I teach it with a sociologist, Dr. Wendy Wiedenhoff-Murphy. And a lot of students who are also interested in business or economics will take that. But you can see here that there's a number of different courses that you could take to explore your interest or your potential interest in political science. We're very proud of our internships. These are just a few of them. This is the Meet the Press Fellowship, which John Carroll has a very special relationship with Meet the Press. And the reason is because Tim Russert graduated from John Carroll in 1972, and he was a political science major. And so when he passed away, his widow endowed some money to John Carroll, or to Meet the Press, I guess, to actually sponsor a graduating senior every year after they graduate to come and work at Meet the Press. And so we've had a number of students from political science, but also from other majors. I think Ashley Bastock here was a communications major. So that's one major internship that we have, but we've also, placed students at the World Food Bank. We've also done, a lot of internships at the county prosecutor's office, as well as campaigns, political campaigns, and political offices for senators and members of the legislature here in Ohio as well. We emphasize experiential learning, not just through internships, but also through several of our classes. I already mentioned the Berlin seminar, but there's also the EU simulation, which is an entire class that you can take. And sort of towards the end of the class, you travel down to Washington, D.C., and you participate in a simulation of the European Union. Every year, students do that. They also have the opportunity to visit the embassy of the country that they're representing. And students find that to be a very rewarding experience. Both of those are led by Dr. Andreas Sobich. We also take students to the City Club of Cleveland, and we also have a number of people who will come in and speak to our classes. For example, we have a part-time instructor who happens to be friends with Judge Dan Polster, who is a federal judge, and he comes in to Zach's class, which is on the history of law in America, to give his insight as a federal judge. He also happens to be a pretty well-known figure because he is the judge in charge of the multi-state litigation around the opioid crisis in the United States. So having him come into a class at John Carroll University is an incredible opportunity, and he's wonderful. He always has lunch with us. We just kind of encourage that kind of stuff in our department for your benefit. Lastly, we have, a lot of people, especially parents, will ask, well, what do you do with a degree in political science? Well, here's some examples, and these are somewhat more recent examples, but not quite the last couple years because we need to update this. But there, you can see a wide range of things that people do after they graduate from John Carroll. We're very proud of our students and what they do after they graduate. Many of them will go on to graduate school. This is the same slide that I just showed you. So it didn't actually list all the wonderful graduate schools that students go to, but I do know that this year alone, we have a student going to Georgetown University to study Latin American politics. Last year, we had a student going on to do a PhD in sociology, even though he was a political science major at Florida State. We usually have a few students every year that go on to graduate school, and many that go on to law school. And these, as you can see, we have some special relationships with Cleveland Marshall School of Law and with Case Western. So a lot of our students go there, but we occasionally get people who go to Cornell or Emory or Harvard and Wake Forest, as you see here. And we're very proud of that. But you can major in anything if you want to go to law school. It just happens to be that a lot of students that are interested in the law are also interested in political science. Thank you for taking the time to get to know a little bit more about political science. I hope you choose John Carroll, and if you do, I hope that you take a political science course and explore the other social sciences, which are right now more important than ever to understand how the social world works. Thank you.
Great job, Mindy. Great job, Rich. It's been great sharing the space with you. I hope you can see my PowerPoint. Unfortunately, it's going to be in a different format, and I want to apologize particularly to Stacy for going a little bit off the script, but I had some tech issues at home, such as it is. But the first thing I just want to say is what Dr. Clark and Dr. Peden both said are absolutely true, that these programs, sociology and criminology, political science, and the Peace, Justice, Human Rights program share so many values, so many courses, and so many students. The best of our students are often interested in many subjects and interested in approaching them from different disciplinary lenses. So the Peace, Justice, and Human Rights program, or PJHR as we call it, has been around for about 10 years now, amazingly. We are an interdisciplinary program with a major and a minor. We're dedicated to the formation of active participants in creating a more just, peaceful, and equitable world. This program is, and I don't know if you can see it because I see that some of the slide is occluded here, but we're a program that centers itself in the mission of John Carroll University to help prepare students to engage in responsible social action. John Carroll University has this incredible mission of service and social justice. Social justice is not simply a motto or a logo or a trademark. It is a living spirit of students and faculty and staff who want to make the world a more just place, a more equitable place, a more peaceful place. You can see two pictures here that sort of show our students and faculty in action. In the foreground, we see Dr. Clark and Dr. Taylor at Stormont in Northern Ireland, and we'll talk a little bit more about that program. And in the background, we see Katie B. English, who, if I'm not mistaken, was also a sociology major, engaging in a project with a bunch of friends called the Carroll Ballers. I want to talk first about professional pathways because probably some people here, well, they say, well, I'm passionate about social justice. How can I get involved? And what sort of careers does that lead to? As with political science and as with sociology, some of our students are passionate about the law. Some go on to law school. Some go on to politics and public policy. Some become social entrepreneurs. Some get interested in the nonprofit world and NGOs. So here's just a couple, and again, you're not going to see the part that you don't see is where you fit in. One of our PGHR minors, Diana Nahum, who is also a political science major, did a Fulbright fellowship teaching in Turkey and then got a master's degree in international law in SOAS in London and now works in the Middle East division at Human Rights Watch. She's been someone deeply passionate about foreign policy and the ways in which human rights and foreign policy can interact. She's one of our stars. Claire Grega was a PGHR major. Dr. Clark would be very familiar with her. She worked in the Obama White House, first as an intern and then as an analyst. She also was a World Food Program fellow, and now she's getting her law degree to do future public service. She also, I believe, worked for one of our senators. And just to show you sort of the range of ways in which people apply the things that they learn in peace, justice, and human rights, Maddie Culberson founded her own yoga and wellness studio. And one thing that people are passionate about, social change, need to sort of be awake to is the possibility of the nonprofit administration degree, a 5-year option, BA, MA, and also the ways in which entrepreneurship can be socially transformative in nature. one of the things that each of our programs offers, and is a real point of emphasis for us at John Carroll, is to create situations where students get to encounter the world in more direct and immersive ways. Not only experiential learning, but academic immersions. And one of the jewels of our program is the program in Peacebuilding in Northern Ireland. This program has been around for longer than the PGHR program, actually, and both Dr. Peden and Dr. Clark have been on these delegations and trips. Here we see one of our groups meeting with two former paramilitary members who were involved in conflict and shooting, and now they lead tours in their city of Belfast. To go to Belfast and to go to Northern Ireland is to experience a society that has transformed itself, that has moved from total conflict and total civil strife to a place where peace is built every day. It's an amazing experience for students who are interested in how societies in conflict can move into becoming societies of equity and peace can happen. Dr. Peden already mentioned the Berlin program. Two faculty members, one in history, one in political science, who lead students to go to study Germany and its transformations, both post-war, post-World War II, and also post-Cold War. That's also one of these amazing trips that students can do to encounter people who've lived through the history of transformation. Just to say a word or two about what people are learning in the program. At the core of our program, obviously, is a study in peace, justice, and human rights, not surprising. And so each student who is a major is going to get a course that's involved in either conflict resolution or peace building. Each student's going to look at social justice, and each student's going to understand and learn about human rights. As they move through the program, they're going to be drawing on courses from all manner of disciplines in the university. Just wrote down a few off the top of my head. They might take from Dr. Clark a course on prisons and human rights, or violence in society from the sociology department. Or they might take from Dr. Peden, global debt and justice, or from one of Dr. Peden's colleagues, wrongful convictions. Or they might take from within our department, poverty and social justice or conflict resolution. At the sort of the upper level, they're going to be engaging in a research project. And at the sort of junior and senior level, they'll be doing, every major in PGHR does an internship and has a capstone experience around that. So our internships have been varied just as they are for the political science and sociology students, but one particular program of note is the Shepherd Summer Internship Program, which offers the opportunity for students from John Carroll to be placed in sites dealing with the issues around poverty that continue and persist to this day in this country. And they spend 2 months in a site working with and living with this organization and the people that it serves. It's a profound experience in learning about poverty and allowing students to sort of live in places where they would not have lived, and to really see poverty from the inside and see how organizations deal with it. Just this year, actually, we placed 2 interns at U.S. Senators' offices from at John Carroll. I think one is a political science major, and Cecilia Byrne, and the other, Molly Ross, is a PGHR major. Then obviously you can see some of the other sites that people have been at. Our students are incredibly accomplished, but I think that more than sort of talking about their many accomplishments, which we could list forever, is just to say there's something kind of distinctive and inspiring about PGHR students. There's something about them that believes that they can make a difference in the world, and they have hope for the future. And so it's a program that's really fun to be a part of, because every day we see students who actively live out their sense of hope, their sense of the possibility of creating a better world. One of my favorite mentees is a guy named Zach Thomas, who's pictured on the left. he founded a program called Writers in Residence. He was actually an English major, but he was just one of my mentees, and he created a workshop for juveniles in detention. The man on his left was one of the guys, his name is Sean, who was in the Kiowa Hills Juvenile Correctional Facility and got really passionate about creative writing. And right now he's in college. He served his time at the juvenile facility, and through the mentorship of Zach and others, really felt a passion for going to college. And he's the first member of his family to do so. On the right, you see some of our volunteers from this past semester with their picture as they're about to go inside the facility. So welcome to John Carroll. We look forward to meeting with you. We hope that you're gonna join our university, and really looking forward to spending time with you and to accompany you as you find your passions and what you're meant to do. Thanks.